Hello, hello, hello. Hooligan Soccer Podcast coming at you with myself, Gary Stryker, and up the palace, the Hooligan, as always. Good morning, Hooligan. How are you?
Up the palace, fuck the pool. That's what I say. I'm good.
Yeah.
Feeling confident.
Feeling confident. That's good. Confident just in yourself or just from Palace's perspective as well in terms of how they're playing Liverpool this weekend? Or a bit of both?
Let's go with both, Gary. Let's go with both.
Positive.
I'm feeling good on all angles.
Definitely not in a salty mood this morning as well. Sometimes you get happy, positive Hooligan or salty Hooligan, and definitely
No. I'll get salty. Don't sweat it. We're about to talk Chelsea. I'll get salty as you want. I'll get salty as you want.
You just get that shiv out and stick it into my back, and we'll get into it. But yeah, let's
Why?
give it a pass.
You can do it yourself. I mean, please. Chelsea's stabbing themselves in the back, so you go ahead and follow suit.
I will. Yeah. Before we get into it, though, we will be covering. Obviously, we've got 2 FA Cup semi-finals that we'll be talking about on Saturday and Sunday, which
first.
are really juicy games.
Good ones, actually.
And then we will be. Exactly. And then we will be covering the Premier League. But of course, we would be remiss if we did not mention that we have a website that you should all go and check out, hooligan-soccer.com, which has a bunch of musings, writings, banter, some really great articles lately coming up as well. Sort of lots of spinny, sort of salty, interesting, spicy, snarky takes as well, which has been fun and a lot of humor and banter. And also, we have just finished hacking through and recording the group phase warm-up for our World Cup dedicated podcast, Summer 26, a global soccer showdown. We'll be putting the links in the bios and all those kind of things so you can like, follow, subscribe. We've just finished and recorded every single group, breaking down who's going to be in it, their chances and the players, and looking out for the young players. Check it out wherever you get your shows as well. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the usual places. Like, follow, subscribe, all of that stuff as well. Okay.
Of course, and the best part about all of that is we're going to have to go and re-record it once all the final lineups come in and we realize that we've picked players that aren't going to be there.
Yeah, or if we receive a if we get a cease and desist order from FIFA as well, saying that we've been violated some IP infringement as well. But yeah, anyway, well, Gianni, media passes welcome over this side. Hooligan doesn't care for them so much as well. But anyway, we will get into it.
I'll accept it, but
I don't think
I'm not going to grovel. I'm not going to grovel for it. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. FA Cup semi-finals. We've got Saturday's matchup. We've got Man City against Southampton, and then on Sunday, Chelsea against Leeds. Pep Guardiola could come out of this season with the domestic treble. He's got 1, and it looks like 2 on the line with the Premier League. We'll talk about the Premier League and Arsenal's, bed-shitting experience later. But he's really turned this around, like just from how it went horribly wrong last season, where remember he was scratching his head on the sidelines and they went 10 games, I think, without a win, and they sort of, were really wobbling. He's really managed to turn this around, and it doesn't feel like Man City have also been performing at their best. It feels like there's a few more gears left in them as well. They've been, particularly sort of the last couple of weeks, there's been a few games, particularly before the international break, where they were dropping goals and points and draws and those kind of things, and a few weird losses. But he's done really well to get them to this point. And now he's got a semi-final against Southampton, who are obviously in another league completely.
So that's what's so great about this. You actually have in an FA Cup, a non-Premier League team making it to the semifinals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're in the championship.
It is an ex-Premier League club, and Southampton is, I wouldn't want to call them they're not a yo-yo club in the sense that Burnley or Norwich are, where they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, right? Southampton does certainly straddle the 2 leagues very effectively.
Yeah, they do. And they're on form as well, right? They're in 4th place at the moment in the championship. Form. Yeah, so they are looking, they're definitely in the playoff zone. And honestly, they're only like 3 points behind automatic promotion with Ipswich. And Ipswich do have a game in hand. So they're in form. So they're also sort of feeling good, thinking, right, we could get promoted and bring on Man City, right? That's what they'll be saying. All it takes is one good 90 minutes and Man City to, not have a good game, and they're in the final.
Yeah. And interestingly, I think both clubs, this FA Cup tie comes at a time where for either one, it's got to be a little annoying because it's distracting them from their primary objective, which is to, in City's case, win the league, right? To do so, they have to win out all the rest of their games. And then, of course, for Southampton, it's get promoted back into the Premier League. And They have 4 games remaining in the championship, so they win out all 4, they've done their job. They've won 4 out of their last 5, the other one was a draw. So, they're in great shape. They've got 6 they've got a 6-point gap for the final, 6th playoff spot. So they've gotta be feeling good, so they can at least come into this without while there's pressure and there's nerves, I think they're gonna look at this also going, "This is part of our history and our legacy," right? They wear these retro blue and yellow, right? They wear these retro blue and yellow kits for their FA Cup ties to honor something that they did in the past for someone. I mean,
Oh, they did?
all these
Okay.
clubs have 100+ years of history, so
Yeah.
they can pull out all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be, and of course they're going to Wembley, and I think all players in the English league kind of want to go to Wembley.
It's an occasion.
It's one of the cathedrals of soccer
It's the
for
home
England.
of football. Yeah, it's considered the
Yeah,
home of
really.
football,
It's
right?
just so, and I think there have been times where City has gone into these ties and been, I don't want to say disrespectful of the opposition, but certainly they don't give them quite as much credit. I don't think Pep's making that mistake. He's done his, they'll have done their research and they'll know that Southampton's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll know, right? They knocked out Arsenal. So it's like they can't be, and City might go, well, so did we, right? Feel it all like, yeah. But no, I'm actually really excited. It's rare that you get a cup tie between teams from different leagues that really feels like it's going to be a good match. And this is one of those. I really think this could be genuinely an absolute barnstormer of a match. And I think Southampton could shock Man City and win. I can tell you one thing that both teams do not want. Bingo. Nailed it. That's right. None of them want extra time. They're already tired. They've got a long grind ahead. They want to minimize the amount of damage to the legs as possible. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree. I think this will be an interesting game. And as you said, this is the magic of the FA Cup, right? There is the underdogs. There's how many countless stories of underdogs upsetting, and Southampton have already done it in the form of, obviously, as you say, knocking out Arsenal as well, and to get this far as well. So I think it will be a very, very exciting sort of, cup tie. And I think, just looking at sort of Southampton's past, they knocked out Fulham as well, another Premier League team before that. So yeah, they've got a couple of Premier League scalps, and
they're hungry for more.
Yeah. So
they'd like to add 2 more into that cabinet. So why not?
Yeah. And then if they get through, and again, all it is 90 minutes or extra time and penalties as well. And if it goes to penalties, it can go any way as well. So
if it goes to penalties, I think you kind of just psychologically, Southampton's going to be like, yeah, we got this. Yeah, no problem.
You've got that far as well, right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's go and look over to the.
Here's the other thing. I'm not sure Donnarumma starts.
Interesting. Why not? Because he's a big game player, and this is a big
game player. But mark my words. Watch what happens on the lineup. I'm curious to see whether he starts.
You think he puts Trafford in there as well and says, "Look, you're my FA Cup guy," and interesting. Yeah. Okay. All right.
By the way, that guy's no slouch either. So know.
And to be fair to Pep, in the Liverpool game in the FA Cup, he did actually start Trafford in the quarterfinals as well. So maybe that's a good call. That is a good call. Hey, okay, all right. And then just looking at the previous game against Newcastle, started Trafford as well. So yeah, hey, Trafford maybe is his FA Cup goalkeeper, and part of the deal to keep him happy, as I said, you play the cup competition. So interesting.
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll have to see.
All right. One team that it'll be hard to understand who will be picked is Callum McFarlane, new second-time stand-in Chelsea coach after Liam Rosenior has exited the building after a very, very short tenure as well. Let's talk about Chelsea for a little bit.
Second verse,
same
as the first, right? Well, no. Thanks, Callum.
Yeah. Go on, give me your opinion on Chelsea.
No. You talk. It's your team, man. It's your team. I want to hear. I want to hear from your words, your lips. Talk to me about Chelsea.
Yeah, one of my favorite songs that I like is by an English band called The Verve, and there's a song they have called "Lucky Man." I don't know if you've heard this song as well. Beautiful song, and there's a couple of lines in it which is, "How many corners do I have to turn how many times do I have to learn? Right. And it's very apt here in this point, which is for the Chelsea ownership and the Chelsea hierarchy, is it just feels like there's just bad decision on bad decision on bad decision. And like, how many times are they going to learn? But and then when they do make a good decision in terms of like appointment or manager or anything along those lines, they just go and make it wrong. So, for example, right, they hired Pochettino. He did a great job to get them into the Champions League. At the end of the season, they cut him, right? They hired Maresca, first season, wins 2 trophies, Club World Cup, Europa Conference League, and then start having a bit of a wobble. And then all of a sudden they cut him and they bring in this yes man from their sister team, which they've also hurt as well, by the way, by taking out a sort of established, comfortable manager. And then so they fucked that up. And so, like, they put this guy, Callum McFarlane. I heard somewhere that apparently he's still yet to sort of receive his A badge, his coaching A badge from UEFA. Apparently he's still studying for it. Apparently he doesn't have it yet. Now, whether that's true or
Okay.
not, I saw it. I don't know if that's complete bullshit, but just something I picked up on the cesspit that is X.
Interesting.
And so, like, where do they go from here, right? Clearly, look, they've got this model and this idea. They buy young players, they bring them in, they build them up, but it's just frustrating as hell. It really is. So the question is like, who do they replace? Who do they go and get as the replacement? Do they bring them in before the end of the season? Do they let McFarlane, carry out the sort of, just finish out the season and try and get into the Champions League and try and win an FA Cup, which if they did, I think would be a positive result given the situation that they're in. But who would go and take that job? I know we say this, and the reason is money, right? They'll go and say, like, I'm a big fan of your manager, of Oliver Glasner. I think he would do quite well, and I would like him. But if you're Oliver Glasner, like, why would you go and take that job when you know that you can just wait for a more settled club, a Bayern Munich or the Newcastle gig's probably coming up, as we say. So, like, who goes and takes this, and who can go in and set the standard and basically sort of take them forward and sort of create a dynasty, because that's what they need to do. And the only best thing I can come up with that would make me happy is go and get Mourinho again for a third time, and then bring John Terry in as your assistant and basically kick the living shit out of them and say, guys, you're a bunch of fucking spoiled, petulant brats. You need to up your levels and you need to be better.
Wow.
Anyway, that's kind of
What,
little
and
rant
sleep
in
with
there.
all their
sort of
girlfriends?
yeah.
I don't know,
Well,
man. I think it's like, I don't think the last thing in the world we need to do is provide John Terry with more. Okay, well, yeah. One, just for the record, McFarlane has been named through the end of the season. I don't think they're going to try and pull anybody in.
Yeah,
So
well,
he's got this gig at least for the next 5 games that they're going to be
Sure.
playing. Maybe
Yeah.
6 if they win against Leeds, which
Yeah.
I do think is in question.
I agree.
The other one is well done pulling out Richard Ashcroft, a poet laureate of his time, of the shoegaze and the neo psych scene. That's well played. Yeah, listen. I mean, to be blunt, your club just sucks right now. I mean, it's like, I'm just gonna put it in words there. And it shouldn't. I think that's the one thing that's so frustrating is you're right. It shouldn't suck. There's not from a talent level, certainly not from a spending level. Chelsea in the last 3 years have lost over $900,000 a day. That's how much they're spending. Surely there's got to be better results for that. I don't think any other club, no other club is spending that much money.
Yeah.
Right, over the aggregate in that period of time. There's certainly a handful of clubs that have done better. Now you could say, "Oh yeah, they won the Club World Cup. They did." This is all true. This is all true. You want a Europa trophy. You became global world champions. You are a team that is wearing a badge that says World Club Champions, and you're not playing like it. That's as simple as that. I don't think much more needs to be said. So here's the question. Can they swing it around against Leeds? I think Rosinier's sacking, my opinion, happened because, well, one, they just were absolute shite against Brighton. I'm not going to,
but the last 5 games,
but
they haven't scored a
and
goal.
yes, they were shite against the last 5 games. But I also think they're looking at this FA Cup tie going, if we needed to get a manager bounce, we kind of need it here.
That's the one, yeah.
Because them losing to Leeds is truly yet another. That's a whole nother level of embarrassment. For the Chelsea for the Chelsea group. I actually think Leeds could do it. They're in pretty good form right now. Leeds, they're not terrible. And they're coming off of a real high up because they were, if I'm not mistaken, in their last tie, they had a goal scored against them in the 91st minute. They went down 3-1, right? They went down 3-1 against, it was Bournemouth. Bournemouth went up 3-1 in 91st minute. The goal was then called back for, I shit you not, the most nominal offsides you have ever seen in your life. I mean, like the tip of the jersey right here.
Yeah.
This was offsides.
A whisker,
right here.
yeah.
The new Nike uniform with its really fucked up shoulders, that's what caused the offsides right there. They got that lifeline. And they came back and then they scored an equalizer.
Yeah. And
no, they didn't win. They scored an equalizer. It became 2-2.
They equalized, yeah. But they haven't lost a game in 5 games.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. That's Leeds.
Fight. Yeah.
That's
tough.
Leeds.
Yeah.
Fight, right? All the way to the end. Fight. And Chelsea doesn't have that. Chelsea doesn't have that grit. They don't have that. They don't have that fire in the belly. Leeds has that.
Yeah.
Leeds has that. Leeds, in terms of talent, no, Leeds is not quite as good as Chelsea. The level of players that they have aren't quite the same. But Leeds has that moxie, that grit, that desire. They want it. They want it. And I think that could end up sealing it.
That and just current form as well is that they have not lost a game in the last 5 games, whereas Chelsea have lost every single one of their last 5 and not even scored a fucking goal in those last 5 games. So
that's actually right.
It's there. Yeah. And if you think about it, like from Leeds' perspective, like they could turn over Chelsea quite comfortably here, and they probably will. And just think about it from their perspective. If you're Daniel Farke, who is the Leeds manager, you've not only survived and not got relegated because everyone expects the sort of 3 who come up to go back down.
They're safe now. They're safe.
Yeah, they're safe. And got a potential FA Cup final on the horizon as well, right? Which they may not win against Man City, but imagine a world in which Southampton and Leeds get to the final of the FA Cup. I mean, we're 290 minutes away from that reality as well. That's an interesting side. And just to sort of follow up as well, I would like to just follow up on that. Callum McFarlane, yes, just to confirm, Callum McFarlane has not completed his UEFA A license, okay? He's currently serving, as we know, without the A license, and so therefore he is limited under the rules and the regulations to a maximum of 12 weeks in charge due to the qualification gap, okay? So Chelsea's leadership have basically given the job to someone who is still not sort of qualified or cannot go and sort of manage for more than 12 weeks because of the rules and the regulations as well. So
I'm sure they counted up, and I'm sure they already did the math on that one and said because
sure,
wouldn't that be the ultimate Chelsea-ism is to appoint somebody and then find out that he actually can't finish out the season because he's already used up all his time.
Yeah. The other issue and the concern for Chelsea is I'm just looking at their squad. They've got injuries. All the good players.
They
are
do.
Injured, right?
Yeah, that is also true.
João Pedro, Palmer,
Estevao.
Estevao. I mean, he's got a hamstring and he's going to miss the World Cup. Unfortunately, it's a terrible shame.
He very well could. Yes.
Yeah. No, he's going to miss it. Reece James as well. That perennial hamstring keeps going. Levi Colwill is cruciate out. Wesley Fofana as well. This guy's forever. It's like the second highest paid player. He's always injured. So again, in terms of that, so Chelsea have to rely on Alejandro Garnacho and Liam Delap. I don't think that is going to strike fear into the hearts of the Leeds defenders.
Well, it depends. If the Leeds defenders value their health, it should, because Liam Delap is a tough mofo. I mean, he'll just come up behind you and hit in the back of the head. That's his thing.
Yeah, that's true. But he doesn't really. Yeah, as I say, I don't think he's been performing very well lately.
No,
we'll see what happens as well. And then
and also just to give more on Leeds, Leeds, they've lost 2 games since February 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And those were both 1-0 losses to Man City and to Sunderland. And while, of course, they've got a crap ton of draws, they've also won all their penalty shootouts from those draws. So, they're feeling pretty good about that. Yeah. So
and look, there's a couple of other things. Well, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is in good form. And as we were just discussing in our World Cup podcast, he wants to get on that plane and he wants to sort of make a case for actually being starting for England as well. So he will be gunning for it as well. And then the other interesting thing as well that I've just realized as well is there's 2 things. There is Falciando Buonanotte, that Argentinian midfielder. He was on loan at Chelsea at the beginning of the year from, I believe it was Leicester. For some reason, they loaned him, and basically it didn't work out. And then he got sent off to Leeds as well. So he's probably looking at this, licking his lips, saying, "I'm going to go and stick it in the eye." And then also as well, they have an Ethan Ampadu who also came up through the Chelsea academy as well. So he's a former Chelsea player as well. So there's revenge stories all over the field, and a weakened Chelsea, and not in the good form of they can bite back. They've got an unqualified manager. All their star players are injured, and the form and the morale is at an all-time low. So yeah, I might actually go and put a bet on Leeds here because I can't find a compelling reason to think Chelsea.
I will say this: the team that scores first will win this game.
Okay,
and you can say that as like a general thing. Well, the team that scores wins games. Yes, I know, but psychologically, the team that scores first will win this game. For Chelsea, it's because it'll be the first goal in God knows how long. The dam could break. It would be such an immense relief to that team that ball hits the net, that they might start playing with some fluidity and some joy.
Yeah.
For Leeds, it'll be right. Got the bastards. Now let's step on their neck. Right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I really do think that more than in most games, this first goal is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, I'm just trying to think, what can Callum McFarlane say to inspire the unmotivated, uninspired Chelsea players right now? It's going to have to be one hell of a motivational speech as well to get them to be up for it as well, right? I mean, the only thing I'm sure he can say is, guys, we've got the World Cup going. Like, some of you guys will not go to the World Cup because of your current behavior and form. You got to step it up. Right.
I mean, there's that. I mean, he could also just threaten to kidnap all of their their immediate family.
Their immediate family. But all they have to say is, we'll wait 12 weeks and you're going to be out of the gig anyway. So yeah. Anyway. Interesting. Okay. Well, enough of that. While we're sort of sticking at it, anything else on the FA Cup here, Hooligan, that you want to cover?
But I do think both of them are going to be entertaining.
Absolute bangers.
Both of them are going to be absolutely entertaining.
Yeah. Okay, let's go over to then the Premier League as well and looking at some of these games. I think we've got Fulham, Villa. I mean, Villa are pretty sort of, got their form back as well and should be sort of comfortable for that Champions League spot.
And at this point, I got to say, this is the one game where I call this my meh game because I don't know if many people will care. Fulham have nothing to play for anymore.
Yeah.
They're solid mid-table.
Yeah.
They're not going to make the European cut. Villa still has Champions League to play for, Europa League, if not that. So they're still in. They're still in.
Yeah. Liverpool Palace. Liverpool need to keep going, and they've been wobbling and sort of they need to put a result in
I think
right?
This is a very intriguing match because you've got two teams on entirely different trajectories and with entirely different things to play for. This match really matters to Liverpool. This is a really important one. They're sitting right now in that fifth spot for Champions League, right? Chelsea did them a huge favor by losing, massive favor. They're on 55 points. The team behind them is Bournemouth. Bournemouth with that tie to Leeds suddenly because each of those teams, they have got 5 games remaining. They've got a 6-point gap with 5 games remaining to hold their spot. For Liverpool, it doesn't matter if they finish 3rd or 4th or 5th. What matters is they finish 5th or above. They are playing to keep their Champions League hopes alive.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace, they ain't playing for shit.
Well,
their competition now
is the Conference League, isn't it? Right? Yeah, because they've got Shakhtar. They've got Shakhtar Donetsk, right?
They got Shakhtar Donetsk.
Is it semi-finals? Semi-finals, is that right?
Yeah,
they're in the semis, right?
That's correct.
Wow.
They're in the semis. That is what they got to go to Poland. They have to travel to Poland for that one.
And then the other side of that is Strasbourg and Rayo Vallecano. Never heard of those guys. Okay, and then Strasbourg, Chelsea's sister.
You don't know that they're the third Madrid team. They're the infamous third Madrid team.
They're the third team behind that.
That play in the community park, like out by the thing, and they got to attach the floodlights to some trucks in order to get the so this is. They are looking at a third trophy in a year. Right in the eye.
Glasner is doing himself a very, very good job for his resume and his interviews in the summer, right? Yeah.
So is Palace really going to field their A team on this?
Yeah. No, guys, save yourself for the cup.
Save themselves. He has to look at this game and go, now Shakhtar matters.
Yeah,
And I think
that's
that's
what
Thursday.
matters. Yeah, yeah,
He's like, that's what matters.
yeah.
I think Jean-Philippe gets a start here. But remember, Palace are struggling with some injuries too. They've
I
got
said
a number of
Wharton, yeah,
players who are
Wharton
who are
and Kettier are both injured as well by the looks of it. So yeah, and
correct.
he's been a revelation. Wharton, hey, he's been great,
So
really good.
it's, I'm looking at this. I think this is a and listen, it's not as if Liverpool and Palace, the last few games that they've played haven't gone well for Liverpool. Palace has won, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Palace has either drawn or won their last 3 matches against Liverpool. So this is a good chance for Liverpool to
Just
strike, to
finish
knock them down,
strong. Yeah,
to finish strong and to get that 3
yeah.
points,
And
right?
Slot's also been lucky with all of this sort of stuff going on at Chelsea as well. It's kind of taken the media heat off of him as well, and the sort of the lack of performance in a way, right? So again, if he
Yes.
secures Champions League football, again, I don't think he's going to get fired. I don't think the Fenway Sports Group are the firing type. They stick with their guys,
They do.
and
They
so yeah,
tend to be loyal. They do tend to be
yeah,
loyal.
they give
Yeah.
them time and stick with them, and sort of yeah, and so Liverpool, yeah, they should be okay. Okay, let's move on to. I mean, I think I'm as excited about what's going on at the bottom of the table more than I am about what's going on at the top of the table. I really am.
Right, and rightly so. I think relegation
so.
scraps are far more interesting sometimes.
I mean, it's amazing. So you got West Ham against Everton. Everton,
Yes.
who have sort of like wobbling a little bit, and you could say that West Ham are actually finding a little bit of form and a little bit of fight, particularly with that FA Cup quarterfinal where they, unfortunately they didn't quite get it against Leeds. Right, they lost out on penalties. But I mean, again, West Ham do the business over Everton. All of a sudden, there's what's that? That's 3. There's 4 points. There's daylight. There's an air pocket. There's an air bubble between Spurs in 18th and West Ham, and then Spurs play later. Or Spurs play at the same time as well. So it'll be okay. It'll be interesting. So
And
yeah,
again, much like Fulham, Everton had nothing to play for, right? There's a handful of teams for whom the realities of Europe are just not quite there. I mean, Everton still have a chance to make either conference or Europa because they're at 47 points, right?
But to be fair, there's that talk about there's potentially a 6th spot for the Champions League if Villa win the Europa League, right? So if Villa win the Europa League, the available Champions League, it spits down. So Everton are in 10th.
Yeah. Fair.
And sixth place is only 3 points away for Everton. So they're looking at this and saying, no, actually, I think this is a run in here. This is matters.
You're right.
You're right. For them.
Okay, that was inaccurate of me to say that. They've got something in.
Yeah.
But no, I do think West Ham as a side are showing that belief.
Yeah,
right?
they are looking good. The wind is in their sails, isn't it? Yeah.
Completely. Yeah. And I think, to be honest, that's what Nuno does. That is his true gift, is creating belief when there was nothing.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so yeah, that will be a good one. And then, I mean,
I think it's a draw. Personally, Spurs. I think they're going to draw.
Yeah, and West Ham just need to keep drawing. That's all they need to do. Just keep drawing. Just keep drawing. Yeah, just keep drawing. Yeah, you're fine.
That's all they need to do. Yeah.
Spurs travel to Wolves. Luckily, they're not playing at home this time, right? But that being said, I mean, they did get a draw, which is something against Bournemouth, right? They did look as though they did have a bit of something about them, but still couldn't get over the line. Wolves, on the other hand, all of a sudden have found a bit of form, right? Which is a little, it's too little, well, not to say found a bit of form. They've won a few games. They lost against Leeds and then West Ham, they got stuffed. So you'd expect Spurs to go in there and absolutely smash them, particularly given what's on the line.
Yeah. Danny Higginbotham, who does commentary for NBC Sports on the Premier League coverage, said a really good thing, and I think he's very astute. He said, for Wolves, this is got to be one of the, in a way, them getting confirmed relegated last week is kind of a relief. Now it's like, it's done. We know. Thanks. Okay. He says, for Tottenham, this has got to be the worst game because they're going in, they're facing a team that have absolutely, literally nothing to play for, which means that they're going to play, hopefully, he goes, with an openness, they want to,
freedom.
If I was the Wolves coach, I'd be like, hey, lads,
we're done. Yeah.
It's Saturday pickup. Go have some fucking fun. Do some crazy shit, right? Don't be jerk offs, but like, come on,
see some
man.
rainbow flicks.
Let's
not
go.
Like a few guys. Yeah,
let's go.
Spurs guys. Yeah.
Let's just do this, right? And not to mention the fact that they're going to be like, these guys, fuck them. Let's have chicken for dinner.
Let's pull them
Let's
down with
go
us and
have
play
chicken
them.
for dinner and be wolves, man, and just
let's
tear into the coop, run rampant,
let's bring
create
so
carnage. I mean,
I'm
I really hope that Wolves does this because they're capable of it. They're a team that
imagining
has capability. Let's see it. Let's bare the teeth and go after it.
imagining sort of like a child sort of trying to swim and keep their head above water, and someone like a sibling just holding onto their ankles and pulling them
Yeah,
down and
well,
saying, "You're
Wolverhampton have
coming
to be
down
that
with
sibling.
us." Yeah,
They got to be down there going, hey, pulling the
no.
ankle. Hey,
I'm going to kill you down. Exactly. Yeah, come and play in the championship with us next season as well, right? Okay, we're running up against time as well. I know we haven't spent too much time talking about Arsenal. Um, Arsenal are going to get a
Oh
game
my
in hand,
God.
so they could get back up to be top of the league, and then obviously City will have a game in hand. However, can you imagine if Arsenal lose this? Can you imagine if Arsenal lose this and City have a game in hand? I mean, they were 9 points behind them at one stage. I think this is the third time that they've closed a 9-point gap this season. I mean,
Yeah,
again,
I
I'm going to
can't
quote
even.
Richard Ashcroft. I'm going to quote Richard Ashcroft again
Again?
to the Arsenal
Damn, look at you.
hierarchy,
All right.
to the Arsenal hierarchy, which is, the drugs don't work, right? It's oh my God, this is
I thought you were
us.
going to say it's a bittersweet symphony, but
Well, that's well, we could be be quoting many Richard Ashcroft
listen,
lines.
I can't even. If Arsenal lose, that's it. It's done. I just don't see them coming back after this.
Oh,
After that,
yeah,
I have a feeling though Newcastle is in such shambles themselves.
they are.
This is
Losing
really
3 on the spend. Yeah,
to some in our oft used phrase. This is kind of like a fight. This is like a fight that breaks out in front of a bar at 1:30 a.m. and both punters are too drunk to throw a punch that lands. They're just swinging. They're swinging at each other and hoping something happens. And what usually happens is one of them slips, falls down, and then it just becomes a wrestling tussle on the floor.
yeah.
That's what this is. This
Yeah.
is a fight between drunkards.
Yeah, two drunk guys in a bar having a fight,
Two
isn't it?
sad drunkards who are slurring their words and just cannot get their shit together.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
yeah.
just looking. Arsenal don't really have any injury issues. There's no excuses there now.
No, the only thing injured in Arsenal is their mind.
Is their mentality. Yeah,
It's their
their
mentality.
mindset. Yeah. Do you think? Yeah, I mean, a couple of things. So if Arsenal don't win the league, which it probably looks more likely than not, and
Could
Pep
happen, yeah.
could happen. But I think this game is also. We've been saying this now for the last 2 weeks. Like Arsenal need to win, just win, just win. And I know they're in the semi-final of the Champions League, and they've got Atletico. So there's I'd rather have Atletico than PSG or Bayern. So
Agreed.
it's not completely over. And there was a one podcast, I can't remember which one I was listening to, but they were like, guys, the mentality is, you're top of the league and you're in a Champions League semi-final. Just fucking close out the season. Stop fucking around and close out the season. Easy. That's on the positive mindset, but the mind tends to go to the negative side, and that's where the mentality comes from. Do you think Arteta keeps his job if they end up without a trophy this season?
No, I don't think so.
You think they change? You think they make
Yeah.
a change and say, look, we need someone to go there? And
Yeah,
then the other question
absolutely.
is Eddie Howe feels like
I mean,
he's
Rosinier's open. I mean, they're going to totally grab him.
Hey, can you imagine Arteta at Chelsea next season? That's possible. Wow. I mean, yeah, that would be an interesting one.
Heard it here first.
Eddie Howe also, I feel like there's probably going to be a management change there as well, because again,
Yeah,
they
I would
just
agree.
feel like
I
they've
think
underperformed.
I think that happens as well.
Yeah.
He's just
So
he's not been successful with Newcastle. They're just not doing good enough.
Yeah. He's done
Just
well
not doing
getting
good
to
enough.
he's done well getting to the Champions League twice, but they yo-yo and have second season syndrome and just don't seem to sort of perform, right? Yeah.
All I can say, this is why Eddie Howe is getting fired. They're below Crystal Palace. End story.
Fair enough. Yeah. It's hard to make a compelling case there. Okay, and then the other game, Man U against Brentford. Man U look pretty comfortable, I think.
Yeah, listen, they're in the driver's seat. They are so in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And all they know is they just have to they just need to get a point and a win every now and then. And Brentford have been great. And Brentford are playing for Europe, but Brentford is one of those. They're like
five draws in a row.
I call them. They're the gray man. They're the gray man of the league.
Yeah,
it's like you never hear about them. You hardly ever talk about them, and yet they're always just kind of there. You know, it's like, hey,
yeah,
hey,
indeed.
You know, I would say that with their outfit, if they didn't have verticals and they had hoops, I'd say they're the Where's Waldo of the league. Like every time in every picture, you're like, "Where's the Brentford guy? Where's the Brentford guy?" But and that's not to disrespect them. They've been great. They've been very good this year, considering
And
what they went through.
they lost
Again,
Frank.
I
Yeah.
say they have been
Yeah.
a revelation this season. When most people were, a lot of early punters were like, "Oh, I think Brentford, they could go down." They're not going
There's
down. They're so solid,
They
so
could get
solid.
they could also snatch sixth place.
Could
They're
they
still in it,
absolutely
right?
could?
Can you
Yeah,
imagine if Brentford got into the Champions League? Can you
yeah.
imagine
But
that?
here's the thing: Manchester United is playing at home, and Old Trafford has become a safer place for them now, a
Yeah,
much more
yeah,
comfortable place for United to play. And I think that, again, if they come in and they do their job and they do their business and Carrick sets them up right, even a point would feel okay for them.
that's good.
Although
Yeah,
you
that's
always know
fine.
the United crowd wants a win. So
Yeah, yeah. But
yeah,
again, I agree. A point is good. Just don't lose, and they should be good,
correct.
right?
Not
Yeah.
losing is the main game. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, Hooligan, it's getting exciting into the run in. Next week, we've got Champions League semi-finals, Europa, also Conference League. Your team are in the semi-finals of the Europa Conference League
There's a
against
lot of
Shakhtar, so
there's a
we'll be
lot of
covering
English
those well.
teams playing in
Yeah,
Europe. So yeah, a
yeah,
lot to
yeah.
talk about.
No, it's going to be good. Wonderful. Well, as always, guys, like, follow, subscribe, all the rest of it. Hooligan-soccer.com. Go and check us out. Hooligan, until next time.
Peace.